Glorious July afternoon. What a splendid sight it is.
It's an absolute picture, isn't it? The sun beating down now.
Beautiful day.
Crowds. Not a seat to be had anywhere.
Packed house.
Yeah, absolutely packed. And the grass looking so lovely.
Green as anything.
Green as you like. Absolutely as green as can be. Yes.
Grass has never looked greener.
Yeah, what a scene, what a scene.
Marvellous scene.
Oh, I say, look, there's a bus.
Broadcasting from Brisbane, Australia, this is the FOMO Show.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Joe.
And this is a podcast where you'll hear about blockchain, cryptocurrency, emerging markets, and future tech in relatively plain English.
We'll help you stay across what's going on so you don't get the fear of missing out.
You can find us at FOMO.show or by searching for the FOMO Show on your platform of choice.
Now, everything in this show is in the show notes. You can find links to the stuff we're talking about and timestamps to the relevant parts, so you can always skip ahead or find it later.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you the latest from our developing story.
Jordan, can you hear me?
Yes, Matt, long story. I'm out of where I was. I'm in a new place. I'm covering the Bitcoin war. I'm in the trenches with the sites, and there's chaos everywhere. Chaos on the streets. It's insane. Absolute insanity.
Yeah, Jordan, I can hear... Wow, those are explosions in the background, and that's gunfire, isn't it?
No, I've been in the trenches with both sides. Currently, I'm with Bitcoin SV. Damage control is everywhere. Left, right, and centre. These explosions. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I just... Yikes, you don't want to be here. Don't stay away from the Bitcoin war, huh?
Right, so this isn't like the conflict in Syria. This is the Bitcoin hash war which was happening on the internet.
Look,
that's what you're covering.
I told you things are off the scale. It is insane. I spent time as an embedded journalist within Craig Wright's strategy room, and I've spent time deep in the bowels of ABC's command and control bunker. I've witnessed covert operation planning. I've witnessed the execution. It is wild. I tell you, there's so much going on behind the scenes, and Jordan Cronje is covering it.
You talked about several battles. What happened in these battles?
Look
then,
at the
Jordan?
opening battles. They were wide open. There were 140 character grenades being thrown at each other, left, right, centre. Some people even used GIFs. Many injuries, many bruised egos. It was horrific, huh?
Those sound like the opening salvos then on Twitter. What happened after that?
And then the trench warfare kicked in. It went insane. You know, Craig Wright and Roger Ver had no reluctance. They were sacrificing ground troops, throwing their pawns into the centre of the battle. You know, bruises left, right. It was horrible. It was carnage, absolute carnage, huh?
Okay, Jordan, so you've been seeing... Jordan,
what was
that? Are you okay?
You would not believe this. I just saw someone blow up, huh?
What's going on, Jordan? What are you seeing?
Friendly fire. You would not believe it. Oh my goodness. I tried to shoot Satoshi shotgun. It failed miserably. There are people down everywhere.
Okay, Jordan, can you take a look over the trenches and see what's happening now then on the other side?
I can try. Give me a... No. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing it. They're coming towards us.
Who, Jordan?
No, the Bitcoin ABC group. They're all running. It's Roger Ver right in the middle of them. Huh? He's leading the charge. He's angry. He's very angry. Oh my goodness. They're coming for us, man. They're coming. Roger Ver, they're coming for us.
Okay, Jordan, I think you probably should get somewhere safe and report from there. I don't think you should be in the trenches anymore.
All right, I'll catch you soon. I got to go.
Wow. So this week we have an interview with Coinpoket, which are a new Australian exchange which are trying to reduce the amount of fees that people pay on their exchange.
We're also covering a cool tool, Coindesk's Cryptoeconomic Indicator.
We've got a bunch of news that we'll be going through as well.
Privacy checkup on services like Google.
And we finally come to terms with the fact that Ripple isn't going away and asked the question, were we wrong about Ripple?
Never.
So what have you been up to recently?
I actually watched Citizen 4, which is a documentary by filmmaker Lara Poitras. Now, she she's a filmmaker, and she's actually been on a government watch list for years and years, ever since she made some films in Iraq during the Iraq War. Yeah, so she's under heavy surveillance and so watched extensively and searched every time she crosses the US border. But she was the person that Edward Snowden contacted about his documents. She created the whole meet between Snowden and Greenwald and filmed the whole thing. So you actually see some footage from around this, what is essentially one of the most important moments in the last decade as far as privacy and surveillance goes. So really interesting. You get to see Snowden's messages, what happened, his attitudes, and the key things that he thought were in the leaks very early on. So I've implemented VPN on my phone as well as my laptop. I hadn't really used it before because of battery, but now it's sort of an essential because I've got nothing to hide, but I'm hiding it. And you're
exercising your right to privacy.
Yeah, because privacy is freedom. Amazing documentary, really raw.
So what was it called again?
It's called Citizen 4.
Okay.
So what have you been up to?
So I've been settling into remote working life.
How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been good. I worked mainly from home last week, although I ended up getting a membership at a co-working space. It's just opened up here in Brisbane because, yeah, you just go a little bit crazy when you're working from home all the time and you need to get out there amongst people. And yeah, so shout out to the Hub. They've just opened up here in Brisbane and really cool little co-working space, which is good. Yeah, I've been getting up earlier. I've been forcing myself not to play games on my PC when it's work time.
Wow, good.
And that's become harder. That's become harder because I can now officially game on Linux. I bought a new video card and I've been trying out the new features we talked about a few episodes ago. I got to say, mate, like a lot of these games work flawlessly now.
Wow.
That never would have worked before on Linux. So I don't think I've booted into Windows in about 4 weeks.
Sheesh. Wow.
There's been a bunch of other things going on, some of which I may be able to talk about soon.
Ooh.
So a little teaser of an announcement maybe.
Wow.
We'll see what happens.
Looking forward to it. A bit of disclosure. This is not investment, tax, financial, business,
Legal.
business, financial advice.
Yeah, we're not saying you should buy anything at all.
We're personally invested in different cryptocurrencies and stocks and whatever, some of which we talk about on the show. But if we talk about a project, it doesn't mean you should buy it.
So do your research, never invest more than you can afford to lose, and most importantly, avoid the fear of missing out. If you're new around here and new to crypto, you can check out our Blockchain Basics series. It starts from episode 2 and continues until episode 8.
It will give you some grounding in the fundamentals and help you understand what on earth we're talking about. What the fork is going on?
If you've been living under a rock or you're just not involved in crypto at all, this last probably week and a half, 2 weeks, there's been what they're calling a hash war going on. Not in Bitcoin, not in Ethereum, but in the slightly strange and wacky world of Bitcoin Cash.
So what's happened?
Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin. So around the middle of last year, there was a big agreement in the Bitcoin community, and the majority of Bitcoin community wanted to implement something called SegWit, and a smaller portion of the Bitcoin community did not want to implement SegWit, and they ended up basically parting ways, and the chain, what we called split. And Bitcoin continued on as the main Bitcoin chain, but there was a new chain called Bitcoin Cash.
Right.
And the people in the Bitcoin Cash chain, their view was that Bitcoin had lost its way and wasn't keeping with the original vision of the white paper. So they were going to continue on Bitcoin on their own in the way that they thought it was meant to be. So fast forward ahead about a year and a half, and Bitcoin Cash has been going on for quite a while, but agreements have been brewing within the community, and there's several strong personalities within that community, and they've all started disagreeing. And it eventually came to another head, and part of the community said we want to go one way, part of the community said we wanted to go another way. For me, looking in on the outside, and I think for a lot of other people, it seemed more like a clash of personalities than an actual clash about the technical aspects of the coin itself. And that's played out in another hard fork. And so Bitcoin Cash last week split into 2 forks, one called Bitcoin ABC, another one called Bitcoin SV, which I assume stands for Satoshi's vision. And it's basically been an all-out war between the 2 factions ever since. And everyone else has been kind of sitting on the sidelines, eating popcorn, watching the fireworks and watching a network basically implode on itself. And
so who won?
most external observers say that Bitcoin ABC has won.
Right. Okay.
And the reason they say that is because they've put a lot more what they call work. So in Bitcoin, you mine and you prove that you've done a certain amount of work, which is essentially computing power or hashing. And while the two chains are basically the same length, the work that's gone into the Bitcoin ABC chain is quite a lot bigger at this stage.
Right.
And that was the metric by which a lot of the Bitcoin SV people said that someone would win, was by having... So they've essentially used their own metric against them. Several of the big exchanges, they're saying that they're going to keep the Bitcoin Cash ticker on their site, but that's going to be Bitcoin ABC, and then Bitcoin SV is going to get its own ticker.
Right.
But interestingly, Binance said we're just going to split the two, and one's going to be Bitcoin Cash ABC, and one's going to be Bitcoin Cash SV.
It's getting very complicated very fast.
It's getting very complicated very fast for something that was meant to be very simple. The Bitcoin Cash community have constantly said that they are the real Bitcoin, that they're the easier to use Bitcoin. They've said that it's easier to onboard people, but I can't imagine it being easy now. Already having to convince people that Bitcoin isn't Bitcoin, but that it's Bitcoin Cash. But now they've got to convince people that it's Bitcoin Cash ABC or Bitcoin Cash SV.
It's just weird, man. It's just weird. Like, why did they have to fork it and keep it the same name? I don't get why they didn't fork it and just call it, call one Craig Wright coin and the other one Roger Ver coin.
I think a lot of the people involved in that community truly believe that they are the real Bitcoin. And if they lose that, then they'll just be another altcoin.
Yeah.
And a lot of that community have spent their time blasting other altcoins like Dash and Monero and also. So I think you're finding now that a lot of these people have kind of backed themselves into a corner and everything's falling apart around them. And there's a bit of cognitive denial going on.
It's crazy because, a lot of the commentators have noted that it's a few very powerful people who are controlling these who are making all the big moves in these decentralized systems.
I guess you got to ask the question: have they become the very thing that they swore to defeat? So yeah, if you want to read more about it, you can go on Twitter. There's still many ongoing conversations on that medium, but I don't think we'll cover it again. We only covered it because it was just such a big deal.
It's a good excuse to sit on Twitter for 48 hours.
It was entertaining, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was really entertaining. Some of the memes that have come out of this have been incredible.
So, yeah, Twitter delivers. Just when you're about to delete your Twitter account, something exciting happens, isn't it? So what's been happening in the news?
First item, Mythical Games has raised $16 million to develop blockchain gaming on EOS.
That's pretty cool. So that one was led by Mike Novogratz's fund, wasn't it?
Galaxy Digital.
Yeah. And it's some sort of blockchain game studio that's been founded by, I think it was former Activision executives.
Executives or developers or something. Yeah, but Mike is obviously, who's a very well-known investor, has obviously believed in them enough to want to back it at Series A, which is, quite early still. Yeah, and they're saying that they want to have a whole new generation of games, a whole new type of game backed by a real world economy, essentially.
Next piece of news, BancorX cross-chain liquidity network has gone live on EOS.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. So Bancor is a protocol that was developed for Ethereum first, and they are kind of like an exchange. They've got a whole bunch of tokens that you can have on the Bancor network and transfer between people, and they've built a endpoint on EOS as well. So they've built a similar software on EOS, the EOS network. So now, let's say Bancor supports the Decentraland token, Land. And I'm not sure if they do or not, but let's say they do. You would be able to now transfer your land to an equivalent token on EOS, on the EOS network. So it means that developers could use Bancor as their backend for their distributed applications and gain the benefits from each platform. essentially. So if they need fast transaction speeds, they can build that part of their application on EOS.
Right.
If they need, complex smart contracts that are well proven on Solidity, they could use the Ethereum network.
Wow.
So that's kind of their vision. They want it's one of the first cross-chain liquidity networks. So same deal with, let's say you're an exchange and you want to support, you want to build an exchange on EOS, but you want to support Ethereum tokens. That wasn't really possible until now, but now using Bancor, you probably could.
Sheesh.
It still has to go through Bancor though, which is, so it's not truly trustless.
Right.
So next bit of news, China's central bank has issued a warning against a blockchain investment bubble.
Yeah, so the People's Bank of China, which is known for its anti-cryptocurrency stance, has reportedly advised that the government strengthen its supervision of speculation, market manipulation and other irregularities, which it claims are common in domestic blockchain investment and financing schemes.
Yeah, and this is coming in line with the news from the SEC that they're actively seeking to either prosecute or settle large cases behind the scenes with a number of ICOs that were started last year. So it seems like both regulators are clamping down or at least issuing warnings at pretty much the same time. And that other announcement from the SEC in the US was really interesting because Eric Voorhees, who is the Shapeshift CEO and a number of other projects, he's been tied up in it because of his advisory role on Salt lending, which was an Ethereum-based lending platform.
Wow.
And SEC, generally they'll settle things behind the scenes, but they've actually taken the unusual step of coming out and saying, we're actively looking at lending platforms like Salt Lending and ETHLend.
Wow.
So, yeah, it seems like both regulators are really clamping down, and the SEC one is quite concerning because it's concerning if you're someone that's run an ICO, because a lot of the language coming out of that announcement that they made was very negative towards most ICOs. And I think a lot of people would fall within their definitions of what probably isn't okay. But they also have been saying that there could be security, they could swap to a security token model, maybe with some sanctions or something as well. So governments are finally stepping in and making some real definite moves.
Next up, Coinbase's chief technical officer said that crypto is entering the tech mainstream. So Balaji Srinivasan, who's a prominent venture capital investor and he's a CTO at Coinbase, he said that crypto is entering the tech mainstream. He points out that the CEO of Google, like the two guys who founded Google, their sons are both mining crypto. He points out Facebook's doing blockchain, Square has open sourced some nice cold storage code, Microsoft, Amazon, Google Cloud all have blockchain efforts. Crypto is entering the tech mainstream.
That's really interesting that he said their sons are both mining crypto.
Yeah, did not know that.
Yeah, but you do see it. I saw a poll recently, had a lot of people participate in it, and it was kind of asking high school age kids, like if they had a choice to invest in something, like if someone gave them $10,000, what would they put it in? And like 50-something% of people said Bitcoin.
Wow.
And I can't remember what the second one was, but like government bonds and fiat money was like 2% and 3%.
Yeah, kids probably don't even know what they are.
No.
1 in 5 Brits think that Bitcoin will be as common as cash or card in the future. So young men are by far the most likely demographic to have bought Bitcoin and to think that they understand how it works.
Yeah, so this came out of a YouGov research project, and they were exploring 10 years on from the inception of Bitcoin, what people were thinking about it.
Well, yeah, 21% of British people think that cryptocurrencies will one day be as common as card or cash. However, 43% are more skeptical, saying they don't think cryptocurrencies will ever be as common as cash or card.
Yeah, it was also interesting that a lot more people were very uncomfortable with the idea that a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin was controlled by the people. It seemed like a lot of Brits still have a lot of confidence in the central banking system and the banks, and they're a lot more comfortable with the idea of a government-controlled currency than a currency controlled essentially by the commons.
You wonder if these same people reckon that the Bank of England is actually owned by the British government.
Yeah.
Classic.
Just like the Reserve Bank of Australia.
Or the Federal
Or the
Reserve.
Federal Reserve.
They've got their naming schemes down pat, though, haven't they? Next piece of news coming out of graphene.info. They're saying this bionic mushroom interacts with bacteria and graphene to generate electricity.
Yeah, so in a recent study, researchers from the Stevens Institute of Technology in the US have come up with an original idea. They've designed a bionic mushroom that uses graphene to produce electricity. More accurately, the researchers have generated mushrooms patterned with energy-producing bacteria and an electrode network.
It's kind of crazy. You wonder if your like light bulbs in the future would just be mushrooms you plug into the roof, and
because these are like electron conducting mushrooms, aren't they? They're like pushing electrons around.
Because in their vision, the mushroom would provide shelter, moisture, and nutrients, while the bacteria 3D printed on the cap of the mushroom would supply energy by photosynthesis.
Wow.
Graphene nanoribbons printed alongside the bacteria could capture the electrons released by the microbes during photosynthesis, producing bioelectricity.
So we could, instead of having like tiles on our roof, we could plant a garden on our roof and just have a whole bunch of mushrooms up there and run our house off that.
Yeah.
Instead of solar.
Yeah. It'd be like straight out of one of those Lewis Carroll stories or something, isn't it?
Oh, I hate mushrooms too. This is really bad news.
You're not a fan of mushrooms?
No, I can't stand
Do you know
it.
what? I've met a few people who just don't like mushrooms, but mushrooms are great. You need to cook them in butter and garlic and then put some herbs in there. And,
Look, I just don't think humans are meant to eat fungus.
what's wrong with that?
It's fungus.
We eat mold.
Yeah, it's cultured mold. It's changed. Mushrooms aren't changed. They're
Like
just
blue cheese is dope, but that's foul if you think about it.
Yeah, but mushrooms, then you're not doing anything to the mushroom. It's still a mushroom. It's just straight up fungus.
Looks like we found a hater.
Look, if I wanted to lick between people's toes, I'd go and do it. What are you saying?
But yeah, if shining a light on a mushroom activated with this generates a really small current, like 65 nanoamps or something.
Okay.
But it's not enough to power an electronic device, but an array of bionic mushrooms could generate enough current to light up an LED. So yeah, now they're working on ways to get higher currents, and it sounds pretty random.
One day we're going to travel space in mushrooms.
Yeah, boy.
Big mushrooms.
I'm sure this is like the Beatles' vision of the future in the hazy 1960s.
Imagine
mushroom.
Imagine in the future. So next bit of news, the battery boom will apparently attract $620 billion in investment, according to RenewableEnergyWorld.com.
Yeah, so the battery boom is coming to China, California, and basically everywhere else, and it will be bigger than previously thought. So the global energy storage market will surge to a cumulative 942 gigawatts by 2040, according to a new forecast from Bloomberg NEF, which I'm guessing is something to do with energy. And yeah, they're saying that growth will necessitate $620 billion in investment.
Yeah, so sharply falling battery costs is a key driver of the boom, and BNEF sees capital costs of a utility-scale lithium-ion storage system falling another 52% by 2020. And this is really interesting because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately on this subject, and just doing a lot of reading on more just renewable energies in general. But if you can, the cost in producing energy from, say, a solar facility with a good battery setup is significantly cheaper than pretty much anything else except, say, one of the most advanced types of gas plants they've got now.
Wow.
The problem is to build like a natural gas plant takes 5 years generally.
Right.
And that's pretty much, no matter what size you want,
Yeah.
generally takes 5 years from inception to actually building it. Whereas a solar plant or some other type of renewable is very easy to put down, and then you essentially just plug the battery in and it'll just store it. And the biggest problem with a lot of this, of course, up until now has been that batteries just haven't been able to hold enough charge, or they're too inefficient, you lose too much power and it becomes less cost effective. And so most solar up until this point has just been for like during the day.
Right.
And then the traditional power has to come in at night time and pick up the load, which is generally when most power is being used. With battery technology getting very, very good and ever improving, it's going to be huge for renewable energies, distributed markets, and smaller scale energy suppliers and producers.
So the forecasts are suggesting that energy storage may be equivalent to 7% of the world's total installed power capacity by 2040.
Wow.
Which is a huge amount of power. And they're saying that the Asia Pacific region will be home to 45% of total installations on a megawatt basis by the same time period. Another 29% across Europe, Middle East and Africa. The remainder will be in the Americas. Final piece of news, 0x have introduced the 0x launch kit. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so 0x, for those people that don't know, is like a decentralized exchange protocol. So it's kind of meant to be a base layer for all decentralized exchanges. And so in the crypto world, you've got centralized exchanges, which are exchanges that you log into and they hold all the cryptocurrency, and they're centralized. You just get an account and you trade within the platform. And if you ever want to get the cryptocurrency so you own it, you've got to transfer it out. With a decentralized exchange, you can go onto an exchange website. It'll automatically pair up with your wallet, so your Ethereum wallet, for example, and it will detect what you have in that wallet. So Ethereum, Decentraland, Aragon, whatever tokens you've got in there, it'll detect them all.
Yeah.
And then it will show you a buy and sell order page for all those tokens.
Wow.
Now, and it's not really it's run by someone, but you hold the funds all the time. So the buy and sell orders are matched between another real person and the funds exchanged directly on the blockchain. So it doesn't go through the centralized service. It's not just a database which is shifting funds around behind the scenes. It's actual crypto exchanging hands every single time from account to account. Now, that's a decentralized exchange. But what 0x have said is they've said, well, we've got this whole Ethereum network.
Yep.
So we're going to build a protocol that lets all of these different exchanges link up and have one big liquidity pool. So, for example, Radar Relay is someone that uses the 0x protocol, and you can go on Radar Relay and you can place buy and sell orders on that. And to the user's eyes, it just feels like it's whatever's being bought and sold on that exchange. But because they use 0x, that buy order you put out will be shown on all the other decentralized exchanges all around the internet which use 0x as well. Wow. So you may get someone that buys the crypto from you on another exchange.
Wow.
And it just matches it across exchanges.
Which is incredible. So I guess it just means that smaller exchanges can start up and not feel like you need certain, critical mass before it takes off.
Yep.
You could just make a Brazilian language exchange and be able to work with, all these massive liquidity pool, not just...
Yeah, exactly. And this launch kit, which they've put together, is basically just that. It's saying they've made it really easy now for almost anyone to start their own decentralized exchange and draw upon the 0x network.
Wow.
Yeah, so really cool. It's just, I just love seeing these open source projects just give stuff away. Like they've essentially built this technology. Yes, there's a 0x coin and you generally will get a discount on the very small network fee if you use their coin to settle the transactions. But that's kind of it. There's not really any other way. They're giving this away for free. You can go out, take this kit, start your decentralized exchange tomorrow, and it really won't cost you a cent. You've just got to make sure you're hosting all your front end yourself.
Are we completely wrong about Ripple?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. Okay, and the reason we decided to talk about this in this episode is because pretty much since Ripple really came on the scene, we've been quite confident in our assertion that its value is not attached in any way to its token. It should not be valued anywhere near as high. It's no good. And yet in saying that, it is now, as of today's episode, number 2 in market cap.
Wow.
In the entire cryptocurrency market.
What is Ripple?
Yeah, so Ripple and this I'm taking this from Coin Review, which did an in-depth, or they say it was an in-depth review recently. They say Ripple is a real-time gross settlement system and remittance network. Its native asset is called XRP, and it functions as a digital currency, and in contrast to Bitcoin, the total supply is pre-mined. Now, the sole purpose of Ripple, or XRP, is digital value transfer and the use cases or remittances and interbank transfers. XRP relies on independent validator nodes that validate transactions. So, essentially, Ripple is a coin that was completely pre-mined, first of all.
Right.
So no one else was involved in the mining. Ripple held the entire amount of the coin at the beginning.
Right.
And that's probably why a lot of us in the crypto world got a bad taste in our mouth at the very beginning anyway.
Right.
Because they held the entire amount of the coin to start with. Mm-hmm. The main use case for Ripple, people call it the bank coin. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is that Ripple and the people behind Ripple have a lot of connections with the legacy banking system. Mm-hmm. And they've been very open about the fact that they're going after the SWIFT network.
Wow.
They want to be the new settlement layer for the banks.
Right.
So they want to run kind of like a consortium blockchain between all the banks where everyone can settle transactions through tokenized real-world assets, basically in near real time on a distributed ledger between the banks.
Wow.
That's kind of their use case. The difficulty with Ripple is that the token, XRP, is completely unrelated from that use case. Their settlement system is completely private. It's a private chain run behind the scenes with the banks. It's not used for the banking settlement layer. So XRP is essentially just a token on a public blockchain run by Ripple with validators who are approved by Ripple.
Right.
And it basically just runs like a public blockchain.
Right.
But the use case for Ripple is entirely detached from its public network. I think, like, were we wrong to criticize it so much? Like, is there space in this ecosystem for a very centralized network which people want to exchange value on because it's quite fast? So that's the thing about Ripple, is it is quite fast. Mm-hmm. It's very centralized. Yep. The nodes are all approved. And you can exchange XRP with someone else very quickly.
Right.
So that use case in and of itself, in a centralized network, I guess you could say it is quite powerful.
And it is related to the banks, which, can, a lot of these people have come from the banking industry. So there's a lot of trust in those sorts of people to be able to build financial product. From
the bit I've read about Ripple, after I started questioning this, it seems like there are now plans for kind of like an inter-Ripple connection layer where the public will be able to interact with that private settlement blockchain between the banks in some kind of capacity.
So there could be a few different use cases on the horizon that we're just yet to see.
Yeah, I guess it's all about what you're comfortable with. I mean, we read earlier about the people in the UK who they think Bitcoin will be used like cash in the future, but at the same time, when you start talking about a network run by the people by consensus, completely decentralized, a lot of people seem to get uncomfortable. A lot of people like the idea of having a more centralized financial network. And that's what Ripple is. It's a really centralized blockchain. The trade-off with that, of course, is that if it's a really centralized blockchain, how do you know that the ledger isn't being tampered with?
And I guess it comes down to trustworthiness. Yeah. It's a California-based company. The team are public. They're known about. So there are certain elements of trust that play off in this.
I guess it just depends what you want in your blockchain network, in your cryptocurrency. Wherever you're from, it's a pleasure having you here.
Why not drop into our Telegram channel and say hello?
All you need to do that is jump on FOMO.show/Telegram and just follow the sign-in prompts and you'll be on our little chat channel.
What's the cool tool this week?
So this week we've got a Cryptoeconomics Explorer that's come out of Coindesk.
So what makes this Cryptoeconomics Explorer so exciting for you?
I think, so the moment you open this Economic Explorer up, you see this hexagon. What kind of diagram is that?
I think it's called a spider diagram. I could be wrong. What I like about this is that with many of these websites, when you're comparing currencies or cryptocurrencies head to head, you can see a bunch of stats that you can put in about each one, but you can't see how they are relative to the other ones. Now, when you put it on a spider diagram like this, where they all emanate from the center, you can immediately see which is better than which on certain scales. I hope CoinGecko steals something like this and just plug their own metrics into it, because it's a great way of visualizing stuff.
So anyway, Coindesk, Cryptoeconomics Explorer, put the link in the show notes and check it out.
Yeah. So this week you had the opportunity to interview Coinpoket. Let's play the interview for you now.
I'm here with Alfonso Porcelli, who's the CEO, founder, and director of Coinpoket. How you doing, Alfonso?
Hi, how are you, Matthew? How are you doing?
Good, thank you. And yeah, very good to have you here. Glad you're here, and I'm really interested to hear about what you guys are up to. So, first of all, before we jump into the specifics of Coinpoket, we always love to get a little bit of background about our guests. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background and also what got you interested in cryptocurrency in the first place?
So, since I was little, I always got fascinated and I always loved the world of technology. Following the steps of my old man, so my father, he always has been a great innovator and a fantastic person regarding to innovation to technology. I decided to take his steps and continue on the journey that he's creating. I worked with a big company that he's the CEO of called Liquidity. I worked for them for 5 years until now, and I learned a lot of things. I got in hardware engineering. I started learning about cryptocurrency more in the detail, more in the blockchain ecosystem, and I started working on different projects of 360 VR experience. So, and I always learned on the innovation side kind of thing, and also on the how we can make it better for people and how we can create a solution out of these projects that we always generated. So basically, I got into crypto in the early stage of cryptocurrency itself and blockchain. I got fascinated because I saw the fluctuation of the market and how you can move such large amounts of number of money from country to country by paying a fee of 6 cents. So for me, it was like, this makes sense. This works. So I started trading by my own. And at that point, when I started trading on Australian platforms, and I started and global platforms too, all around the world with different, many different type of fiats. And I started noticing that there was problems, gaps that I didn't like. And as a trader myself, I thought, well, this system doesn't really work. And bringing Bitcoin here in Australia is much more expensive than what you can buy in America, or you can buy in China, or you can buy in all around Europe. So I said, why don't I make a solution? And that's why I started Coinpoket.
Great. Okay. And so give us a little bit of an overview then about what Coinpoket is. What do you want to achieve with it? And what is your goal for this Coinpoket platform?
So I explain you. So the majority of the market all around the world is fully centralized. So it means the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, basically cryptocurrency, was created to not being centralized, not in the hand of the government or the banks. Okay. So what other exchanges are doing, not saying anything bad about my competitors, but what other exchanges are doing are centralizing what it was created to be decentralized. So what I'm trying to do here is simply saying you just insert your personal wallet address of the currency that you prefer, and you simply purchase it for the Australian fiat currency. So simple as that. You insert your address. Before you do so, you get verified with us for your ID. For security reasons, of course, it's really important. And then you just insert your address, you select the amount that you want to purchase, and you purchase the crypto that you prefer. I am trying to bring back what was designed to be decentralized again, to be decentralized.
Right. Okay. And so if I'm a user then, and I log onto the Coinpoket site, I verify myself with your process. First of all, what's involved in that verification process on Coinpoket?
So it's Coinpoket sign up. It's really easy. You simply just put your name, surname, email, and you verify your email you just verify your email. Once you do so, you get into your account. Once you're in your account, you need to get verified. The verification takes 45 seconds to fill in the full form and upload your IDs. Once you do so, the full process of verification is only 15 seconds. So roughly in a total of a minute, you're full up and running to be able to purchase the currency. We have 3 different functionality that you can deposit. So we have cash deposit, poly deposit, and a bank transfer deposit. Bank transfer can take from 1 to 2 days. Poly is a direct transfer, so it's instantaneously. So as soon as you put the money, you will fund in your account instantaneously. And the cash deposit, basically you go to a news agent and you go deposit your cash. Of course, the transaction can be higher than $9,000 with cash.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy, much easy than majority of the exchange around the world. They usually can take up to 2 weeks because you will need to take a picture of yourself with the documents in the hand and stuff like that. It needs to be verified by humans.
Yeah, there are some quite complex sign-up processes that I've had on other exchanges, so that's really good. But look, like you said, that option is available, so the purchase of cryptos for Australian dollars and through Poly and other systems, that's available on several other platforms. So what makes Coinpoket different from some of the other platforms that are out there after people have signed up?
So basically what do, we follow innovation. So we try to found as much innovation as we can to implement into our customers. So, for example, for this stage, we are a decentralized buy platform, something that you won't find anywhere else, number one. Second of all, if the transaction time period for us is around 15 seconds for Ethereum and 30 seconds for Bitcoin and 15 seconds for Litecoin. So this is much faster than majority of exchanges around the world, simply because being honest with all my clients, we pay a higher mining fee. So by paying a higher mining fee, we get priority on the blockchain and we get executed first. So we can guarantee a much more fast transaction for our customers. And also we're going to integrate the sell option, and we're going to integrate the market option. So to have book order like other exchanges, and also have decentralized sell option. So decentralized sell option means I won't hold the money of my customers and sell it. The customer will hold this money, send it to a special address, and from that address, this money gets sold. And this currency gets sold, and the customer gets his pounds back in his account. But by being like that, people always question me this: why decentralized and not centralized? For the simple fact that majority of the other exchange are putting at risk their customers by simply just giving them a public address and where to receive their money without showing them the private key. And by holding the private key in their hands. So by holding the private key in the hands of one single entity, you create a much higher risk for your customers and for the business itself. So by doing so, if a hacker tomorrow morning hacks another exchange and he steals their private key, all their customers lose their money. This is what we saw happening in Italy. This is what we see happening in China, in Japan. So I'm working out a mechanism that can help the user security as much as possible and help the security of the business as much as possible. So my customers are happy, and all my platform is fully secure.
Great. Okay, well, that sounds really good. So let me just dig down a little bit more into that then from maybe a user experience perspective. So you say it's a decentralized process. It's the big problem with other exchanges is that they hold everything in one account. You don't control your private keys. And we say that a lot on the podcast too. We say, look, if you've got something at an exchange, it's not yours. Really, it's not yours until you transfer it out to your own account. So from a user experience perspective, then what's different about the way that people interact with Coinpoket? How will they have control over that currency? Is that going directly to, say I hop on Coinpoket and I purchase $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Will that Bitcoin go directly to my wallet then? Or will that be held within Coinpoket custody until I transfer it out?
So I explain you how it works. There is no option of Coinpoket holding your custody, so of holding your money. So your money are your money. So there is no meaning why should I handle your money, I'll hold it for you, okay, and putting you at risk. So why should I give you a risk if you're my customer and you're already coming to me to purchase from me? So basically what we do is simply like this. You open a crypto wallet, whatever brand you choose to use, okay? And you will receive a private key with your public address, and you just put your public address in the Coinpoket platform in the box where it says your wallet address. And once you insert it there and you decide the amount and you go verified and you accept the terms, you press start the transaction. Once the transaction is completed, 15 seconds later, the money are in your wallet.
Right, and so that's then a wallet address that I could manage. If I chose, I could manage with another wallet application using that private key as well, and it's all there, stored on chain. It's not stored in some Coinpoket account.
Correct, totally correct. You can use a hardware wallet. You can use a mobile phone with a wallet on it. You can use a computer with a wallet on it. Doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter. You just need to have a public address. Once you have a public address and you insert in the platform, your private key is in your hands, your security is in your hands, you feel more comfortable and more responsible for your crypto. So you take your own decisions, basically. You do not, you basically do what cryptocurrency was built for. To be decentralized.
I really love that model, and that's something I think we've needed, especially here in Australia, for a long time. So that's really good. So you talked then about expanding the functionality out to more of like an exchange experience. You know, having the ability to set buy and sell orders, trade cryptocurrencies between each other. Could you talk a little bit more about how that will work at a technical level? How you'll be able to stay decentralized and allow that buying and selling of cryptocurrency, and maybe what technology you're using behind the scenes to achieve that? So
basically, for the sell option, the decentralized sell option, we're gonna allow the users to have their personal wallets and simply send the money to a specific address. And those cryptocurrency that they send to this specific public address will be sold straight away to the value that we estimated for them. And they are going to found the deposit amount of the money they are meant to receive in their Coinpoket account, and they can withdraw it to their bank account whenever they want.
Okay.
So it's basically at this stage, if you go on an exchange, you purchase crypto, you want to sell it, you can sell it directly. The exchange allows you to do it. Once you sell it, you get the money directly. But you still have that risk of them holding your private key. So what we built, because it's already there and it's ready to come out on the market, but what we built is the user from his wallet sends the money, pays a little fee on the mining fee, and once we get the money, we ensure them that we're selling those money and give them back their fiat. So basically, for the little percentage of mining fee that the user is paying to execute the transaction, we're simply ensuring them a full secure system without giving the chance of a breach.
Brilliant. Okay, and how do you, because you obviously got to get those exchange prices from somewhere. Where are you sourcing those exchange prices from?
So we are basically plugged in 48 different exchanges. So basically I explain how it works. So that's where the AI algorithm comes in. So that's where the machine learning comes in. Simply, we plugged in 48 different exchanges all around the world. We spot the best price for the buy and we spot the best price for the sell, globally wise, okay? We produce the price, we show it to our customers, and we ensure our customers that we're gonna provide them the cost of another exchange. So basically, let's say we have 48 exchange on the list, and so all of a sudden, only one exchange has 3% less in their price, okay? And this exchange is based in America, okay? And so the Australian user can't really reach it unless he changes his fiat from Australian to American. So if he does so, he needs to pay the fees to the bank, and that will cost him around 10%. So at that point, to do so, the user in Australia is losing money. He's not actually making money for the good price. So what I'm doing for my user, I'm gonna get it for them and bring it to them.
And so it essentially aggregates the prices across the market, looks for the best possible price, and
Correct.
pairs that and says to the user, "This is your price for cashing out."
Correct. This is your price to buy it. This is your price to cash it out.
Wow. Okay. And so that's quite a complex system then. Not only the machine learning algorithm, but just everything else you've built out so far, and it's from the sounds of it, what's about to come out as well. What were some of the biggest challenges in building that kind of system then, Alfonso, from a development perspective?
So from a development perspective, we saw a little bit of challenge, not really in the developing section because it's really easy. We're talking about APIs. So some developers take it from a perspective of really hard, but thank God my developers are genius. Really people with a lot of experience, and they're really smart. And the main thing in Coinpoket is everybody has an opinion and everybody gets listened to. So feedback is the main thing for us here at Coinpoket. Everybody of us gives their own opinion, and my developers are traders themselves. So by giving them the possibility of having an open opinion, they can even share their own problems that they had in other exchange and to fix it. So basically, to develop this system, I don't see any point of technical difficulty. The only difficulty was basically the timing of signing up with the other exchanges. It was so long time of getting verified of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and time like that. And I was like, I need to get a company verified, and it's going to take me 3 weeks. I only imagine how my users feel to do a verification like that. I don't know if you remember the period the cryptocurrency was in the boom. So in 2007, at the end of 2017, there was so many questions on the forums of talking about what's going on, why the verification is taking about 2 months, how can I get some crypto, I want to get in this too, blah, blah, blah. And basically the market wasn't ready for the quantity of users. That's a simple answer.
Yeah, and it was quite painful. I can remember waiting for because there were new exchanges opening up all the time, and some of them were the only way you could get certain crypto assets, and you'd sign up for them, and by the time you'd finally been approved to sign up for them, the opportunity that you'd spotted was gone. you just had essentially a useless account on an exchange somewhere that you'd spent maybe an hour or two through the KYC process, and then waited for everything to come through. So yeah, I do definitely remember that. It does sound like a very different system to what we're used to now, but there probably are some fees somewhere in the mix in someone using this system. So where will the users be paying fees on Coinpoket?
So basically, the user, it's only paying us the 0.45% of brokerage fee. So basically just the fee to execute the transaction. So just to spot them the best price. 0.45% is one of the cheapest one on the market at this stage. And by doing so, we still provide a really cheap price because there is other competitors they have low fees, but they increase the price of the coins itself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's quite low, Alfonso, and that's the only fee on the platform that there is, the 0.45% one.
That's it. We pay the mining fee for the customers.
Wow, brilliant. Okay, so you've got that basic buy functionality then, and it sounds like there's the sell functionality coming out soon as well. What time is that estimated to come out?
The sell functionality, basically, I like to give my users not just one functionality at a time. So the sell functionality is going to come out in approximately 3 weeks to 4 weeks. But along with the sell option, the centralized is going to come the market option and also the address book option. So basically, with the address book, you will be able to store the address that you often send money to. So let's say somebody has a business and they need to pay somebody else in crypto, and they have 5 or 6 people to pay in crypto, and they just can save their address in this address book and select it whenever they want. And instead of just doing copy and paste always, they can save it. So in the future, they are 100% sure they won't make any mistake, because as you know, in the blockchain, if you insert a wrong number or wrong space or something, it's gonna bring you to a failure in the transaction and a loss of money.
Okay, and for the market functionality then, how are you? So I assume that means that users are going to be able to buy, set buy orders and sell orders, which other users will be able to fill. Is that correct?
Correct. So just they decided the buy order and the sell order, but unfortunately, logically and technically, it's impossible to create such a thing in a decentralized way. The money will be held by Coinpoket for a short time, or if the customer wants, we can hold it for them. But of course, you know that there is a risk. We don't say it's impossible to get hacked. You understand what I mean? Everything that can be encrypted can be decrypted really easily. So everything can be reverse engineered. So it's you know, the market option, it needs to be controlled by somebody, for the simple reason that if they're not connected to each other and you want to do it through the blockchain, it's going to make this system much slower and pain for my users. So of course, the user, if he wants to do a purchase order and he purchases crypto, he gets the crypto in his wallet on Coinpoket, but then he can take it out whenever he wants.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So there's still an extra element of control then on the Coinpoket exchange as opposed to other exchanges.
Correct. So the user can even, so for example, in the future release, the user will go on his wallet, okay, and will be able to tick a box and put the address of his wallet on his mobile phone, okay, and every time he does a buy purchase, okay, he does a buy on the market and he purchases it, he goes in the Coinpoket wallet, and because he ticked the box, Coinpoket automatically sends it to his personal wallet.
Wow. Okay. So he doesn't have to manually remove it. It will just go straight to his wallet.
It wouldn't make sense to make them do it manually.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have one step more, you know? So I wanted to make it for them much easier. They just tick a box, they confirm their addresses, their wallet on their mobile phone or computer or wherever they have it, and the money gets sent to their wallet straight away.
Wow.
If they don't want so, just untick the box. It's simple, but at the same time, it makes your users feel comfortable and feel relaxed with what they're doing. They don't need to worry about the next steps again.
Yeah, well, that's one of the biggest issues with exchanges in general, is that it's very hard to keep track of what you have on what exchange and to remember to withdraw things when you need to withdraw them. So I can see that's going to have two really positive effects. The first one being that you won't have to worry about forgetting that your funds are sitting on an exchange, first of all, but it will probably also encourage users to have their own wallets as much as they possibly can, which they control.
Correct. By being a big crypto lover, I literally love cryptocurrency in every single way. But I think the concept of crypto, how it was built at the beginning, it totally makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It works. Why shouldn't we use it? So for a crypto lover, the first thing that you need people to understand is that if you do not make them create their own wallets and make them feel comfortable that they're holding the actual wallet in their pocket like they do now with their debit cards and credit cards and IDs in it, okay? People is never going to feel comfortable. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
People is always going to be feel controlled. It's always going to be feel, oh, somebody else is holding my money. What's new? You understand what I mean?
And it almost becomes like, I've had this conversation with other people before, it almost becomes like just another commodity then, doesn't it? If you're just holding it on an exchange and you're not exercising physical control over it, you don't have it in a form which you can begin paying for things on a day-to-day basis. It's just like another commodity, and it's not really what cryptocurrency was designed for in the first place.
Correct. So if you want some news about Coinpoket, I'll tell you the best one, as you're saying now, how to spend it for day to day. So Coinpoket basically is building a system to allow instant transactions. So without the waiting time. So let's say the same method that we're going to use for the market, we're going to use it for normal purchases every day. So let's say you are a business and you open an account on Coinpoket. And with that account, you tick the special box that allows you to sell it straight away or put in your personal phone in the mobile phone, okay? And then another user of Coinpoket that has another address, he has some Bitcoins. He can send it to you directly because it's Coinpoket account and Coinpoket account. The money transfer is instantaneously because it's not through the blockchain, but it's through the Coinpoket wallet. Okay?
Yep.
The transaction arrives to the business instantaneously, and they can simply sell it instantaneously. So they can get their fiat easily. So the business is not saying, oh, I'm putting myself at risk, crypto, the market fluctuates, blah, 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 all this stuff. And the user can use his own crypto for an everyday basis. So at that point, it makes sense. You go to buy a coffee and you can purchase it with a Bitcoin. You can go cut your hair and you can use Ethereum. The business simply needs to create an account with us and the user needs to create an account with us. But like anybody else at the moment, if you create a bank account, right? If you want to pay somebody with a credit card or a card, normal card, the business needs to have a bank account, correct? Yeah, so basically it's the same kind of concept. This is one of the functionality that is coming by the end of January.
Great.
At the beginning of February. So once that's done, you open the vision of crypto to a larger scale. Of course, people is going to say to me, oh, you're building something decentralized, but it's going to be centralized. And my answer simply is, well, it is still decentralized, not fully, but the third step is decentralized. Your money are still going to be in your bank account directly. And they are going to be there by just you ticking a box and saying that after the transaction gets received in your account automatically sells there on the market, and you get your money you get your fiat in your account, and you can withdraw whenever you want.
Brilliant.
So
Okay.
a business gains interest.
Yeah. And have you been in some discussions with businesses already locally for turning on functionality for Coinpoket when it comes?
Coffee shops.
Yeah.
Coffee. A lot of crypto users love coffee. They love it. Hey, who doesn't love coffee? It's really, I love it. Personally, I love it. And I would love to buy my coffee with some Ethereums that I purchased at the beginning when the ICO was launched. It is good. It would make sense. It's usable. It makes the user be able to use his money. There is many users that purchased the Ethereum at the beginning of the ICO, or people that purchased Bitcoin in 2012. It makes sense for them to spend this in a way that they can actually spend it for groceries or spend it for coffees or haircuts or stuff like that. Simple thing, but at the same time, it works.
And that's what it's designed for, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, if we get the future that we want, cryptocurrency will be used for those kinds of transactions. It's a peer-to-peer cash system.
Correct. That's it. So let's say people at this stage, there's a lot of travelers in Australia, right? My understanding is, why are you bringing the money from Australia to your own country with the bank, you're going to pay fees. Or even people coming from external countries and bringing it into Australia, right? Same thing, you're going to pay fees. Why doing so if the cost of the blockchain is so low? Why not executing it with Bitcoins? Even the banks. My question is, why are they not using this as a method to reduce the fees in the exchange rates? It makes no sense. But, talking about banks, I can't give really comments.
We could go down a very, very big rabbit hole with that one, Alfonso, that's for sure. So you've got Bitcoin, I think Ethereum and Litecoin listed on the site now at the moment.
Yes.
Are there plans to support more cryptocurrencies in the near future?
Yes, we have a plan to integrate the top 100 cryptocurrencies. But of course, as I am building a full clean system for the users, I of course only want to provide actually trusted coins, not coins that go put there for just the meaning of the ICO. That's it, I want to actually analyze each one of those tokens and get into detail. What's the meaning of the single token? Why it should be on my platform? Why should my user invest in it? You understand what I mean? Like, I don't want to put my user at risk of spending money on something that I don't believe myself. You understand what I mean? I'm not trying to limit the user, but just trying to actually spot the best and give them the best.
Yeah, which is very good, because a lot of people are coming to this market with almost no knowledge, especially if they're new to it. And if they can come somewhere where you've already done that vetting process first for them, I think that's a real positive.
So look, I can never give them a financial, a comment or anything like that, or instructions how to do things or anything financially. But I just simply, as a kind-hearted person, I want to analyze it for them before they touch something that, for me personally, shouldn't be touched. You understand what I mean? I'm putting it more on a perspective of sort of like personal but not personal. You understand what I mean? Like, if I need to buy a token tomorrow morning in the ICO stage or not ICO stage, I want to know who the team is, why they're selling this token, what service they're providing, and why should I buy it? Do I see a return? Don't I see a return? What's the strategy here? What's their ideas? Can I read their white papers? But people fresh in the market won't do that. They will just buy it. Just because they say, we give you 2,000 free coins in the airdrop if you put 1 Ethereum. You understand what I mean? Yeah. So people will get excited to get something free, and they will just give them the money. And at that point, that's what happens. People say, I bought a lot of stupid tokens for nothing.
Yep, and that will turn them off ever being involved in the space again, at least for the short to medium term.
And then everybody will start on the market, and on the journalists will start saying, it's all scam, they're all like this. It's not true. Look, there is some tokens, they have a big team behind them, and they're super smart and super knowledgeable people. And look, if their ideas work and they can build that idea, it works. Like, why shouldn't you? But the thing is, starting investing on something like, the token of the meat, or the token of the grass, what's the meaning of that? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And look, it has been a really interesting last probably year and a half in the market in general, as we have kind of seen that ICO bubble gradually increase and then gradually decrease over the course of this year. And we're in a really interesting stage at the moment where the markets have been relatively stable for the last 6 or so months, with the exception of maybe the last week. And there's been a kind of a big dip, and some people are freaking out about it. Generally people that haven't been involved in the space for long. Because
what I keep repeating to the people that freaks out when it drops this much? I said to them, do you remember from where it began?
That's right.
Do you remember that it began from 10 cents, guys?
That's right. You're still a long way up.
It's still a long way up, and every time you touch the deepest point, you can only go up. There's no other way. You can keep going down, but once you touch the bottom, you can only go up. Doesn't matter which situation, that is cryptocurrency or that is life. Once you touch the bottom, you can only go up.
That's very true, and so because I mean you've obviously been involved in this space for quite a while, Alfonso, and you've got a lot of perspective on what's going on. Where do you see things going for the next year or two? You know, if you had to get out your crystal ball, and I'm not asking for financial advice at all, but in general terms, where do you see the cryptocurrency space being in the next couple of years?
So I think basically the crypto is going to be used by much more people in the next few years. People that has no knowledge in technology at all, or people that has technology already but never got into crypto. We start understanding, we start getting curious, and by providing a system decentralized and making people hold their own money and be able to actually spend this money, I think more users are going to come all around the world, because, of course, by being me the first here, okay, somebody else is going to do it. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing, because more people there is, more crypto gets used by everybody. So more crypto gets around. By being a crypto lover, that's all what I want. I want crypto to go around, my users to get the best price and don't get scammed by anybody, and make them enjoy the world of crypto, not regretting the world of crypto and all their purchases. You understand what I mean? I see this going really good in the next few years. Crypto is gonna grow a little bit. It's gonna get known by a lot of people. It's gonna grow in that way. It's gonna grow of getting known. So people is gonna start purchasing again and stuff like that, getting to be used for many different reasons, and not just to trade, but also to buy single coffee, or buying groceries for home, or paying electricity or stuff like that.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you very much, Alfonso, for coming on the podcast, and that's been a really good insight into Coinpoket. I feel like I'm I'm pretty keen to actually go and register myself and get into this platform, and I think once the self functionality is up, and once we've got the exchange on there as well, it's going to be quite a boon to have here in Australia, and hopefully things can just keep expanding. So thank you very much for coming on. Are there any shout outs you want to make? Where can people follow you, and where can they find out more information about Coinpoket?
Guys, if you want some more information about Coinpoket, you can go simply on the website for coinpoket.com, or go on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and follow us. Personally, if you want to follow me too, why not, you know? It's kind of good to have a lot of people follow, but basically follow Coinpoket, stay with us. Any question, any feedback to give us, or any problem you have, Coinpoket team is going to be there for you guys.
Brilliant. Alfonso Porcelli, thank you so much for coming on the FOMO Show, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
It's great to see this stuff coming out in Australia. I think it's really cool. So this week in our privacy and security segment, we're going to talk about your Google privacy settings.
Now, even if you don't think you have a Google account, or think you're not signed into Google, check your Google privacy settings. I do this on most of my friends' laptops when they unfortunately leave them unlocked. I go and look at their privacy settings, and then go and help them by doing it against their will.
And you did this for me. Like I think I like to consider myself pretty privacy and security conscious, and I didn't know about this.
Google don't really advertise broadly and remind you on a daily basis to check your privacy settings. Go to myaccount.google.com, click on privacy checkup, and you may well find, if you haven't changed your default settings and if you haven't checked them recently, Google is probably taking all of your web browsing history if you're using Chrome, all of your app usage history if you're using Android. They've got your location history. GPS
history. Yeah, it was unreal. That's what scared me. I turn my GPS off most of the time, but they track you from like a login points, Wi-Fi, where sometimes you'll turn your GPS on to navigate in your car. I was quite shocked.
I mean, for you, it showed you the specific places where you went on a holiday a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it's kind of eerily scary how it showed exactly which house you were in.
Yep.
Not the neighbouring house, the exact property you were staying at.
Yep. It was quite confronting.
It's very scary and very accurate, and there's a lot of data in there. So what you could do, go through and turn off web and app history, turn off location history, turn off YouTube history, turn off search history, and you can go into My Activity, which is Google's activity that they've logged for you, delete activity by, and then delete all activity. Now, this may mean that your YouTube suggestions are still pretty good, but the chances are when you click delete or turn off, they're still logging all the stuff you do, most likely.
Yep.
But it's nice if you want the illusion of privacy and security, go through and delete it, turn it off, and actively switch it off.
Know someone who might enjoy this? Please feel free to share it with them.
You can find us at FOMO.show.
You can jump on our Telegram at FOMO.show/Telegram.
Follow us on Twitter at _FOMO_show.
And on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Show.
Subscribe to us on YouTube at FOMO.show/YouTube.
That's it for us here at The FOMO Show. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like our show, please do feel free to subscribe in your podcast app of choice or via our YouTube channel. I'm Matt.
And I'm Joe.
And as always, remember,
no FOMO.
hello, I am Vitalik Buterin. Today we will be talking about blockchain, Ethereum, and smart contracts. I'll get you, Satoshi.
My sworn enemy. I will do anything to protect my honor. Needs more hash power.
Where is our hash power?
Hello?
Does anyone have hash power?
Anyone?
Sit around, children, and let me tell you a tale about the great hash wars of 2018.
Was it great?
It was glorious.
Grandpa, what is a checkpoint? What is a...
Well, children, a checkpoint is a dastardly plot.
Brian, you forgot to re-record the Brian. Brian.
Sorry, it's all right, mate.
So, what are we covering this episode, Brian?
I already told you.
I wasn't listening, Brian. I was wondering what you were doing with the novel that you're working on there, Brian. A few twists and turns. You know, friends become enemies, enemies become friends.
No, the convincing protagonist.
Everyone becomes rich off the experience.
No one ever records a voice message.
No, we never ask. Don't give us messages because we don't bloody want them.
You're too late.
You asked you nicely.
It's too late to apologize.
But we accept your apology.
It's too late. We accept Bitcoin, not your apology. Bit of a spider diagram.
Bit of a data visualization specialist.
Bit of a statistics.
Open up an Excel spreadsheet or two.
You're going to put different points on the diagram.
Gonna put EOS against Ripple.
You're gonna put Iona there as well, and maybe a bit of Ethereum Classic for old time's sake.